All right, joining me now, Fox News senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy. Peter, we were starting the show with an angle about Doge and what they're up against and what they're doing. We then went to this story. Now it's going to be the Riviera on the Gaza Strip. This is where we are at the end of a day.
And one of the very surprising things about this announcement with Doge, so much of the talk of Trump's first 2 weeks has been shrinking the size of the federal government and shrinking federal spending. To take over Gaza would probably be really expensive. We did not get to the dollars and cents of it during this press conference tonight. Something else that we don't know, who came up with this plan and when did they come up with it? Because earlier in the day, President Trump was still talking about Gaza basically as a wasteland, as a destruction site. His team was out there on the shows and on a background call saying it's going to be 10 to 15 years before anything can be done there. The president never mentioned that the United States was going to take over Gaza. And so this could be, and again, first draft of history is what we're working on here. This could be something that he and Netanyahu came up with just now, and maybe that is the reason why we were so delayed here, because President Trump wanted to hide a major announcement about U.S. foreign policy in his prepared statement before taking questions. But it's something, over the last couple of weeks, we have heard the president say that he thinks Gaza is beautiful and they have the best weather. Today, as you mentioned, Riviera in the Middle East. It sounds like he's been talking about it like somewhere that they should build us sandals. And now he's talking about it like somewhere that the United States should go plant a flag.
Yeah, it's a big leap from hotel development for Western interests that could, maybe bring some stability to the area, to a U.S. takeover of Gaza. And things can happen where conversations are had and then people get, a little carried away. But maybe this has been batted around for a lot longer than we know, Peter. But does it not get Netanyahu potentially out of some political trouble at home as well, Peter? I know you've reported on that.
It depends on how badly the Israeli people, some of whom are really steamed at Netanyahu for the way that things have been going over the last couple months, want to have a United States territory, occupied territory right next door. Common sense would probably say they would rather have American troops there than Hamas guys who are launching stuff over the fence every day. But when you look at the history of Donald Trump, since long before he got officially into politics, he was one of the most vocal critics kind of in the middle against the way that Bush was handling the Iraq war. He didn't think that we should be in these quagmires. And until a half an hour ago, he was describing Gaza as a place that has always had these problems. It is very surprising to hear that he thinks a United States takeover would help, but again, we don't know. If I would have been recognized, I would have asked, how bad do you want it? When let's get Secretary Hegseth up here. How many troops is it going to take to go and do something that the Israelis have been trying to do for over a year?
Yeah, we're out of money, and I guess the thought would be would make money there, but the criticism, Peter, which I know we're going to hear, is does this mean you're a flip-flopper on nation building? That's the criticism, and I'm sure they're going to get ready for that and have an answer for it, but that's going to require some hair splitting.
But maybe expansion is the theme of Trump 47, Panama Canal, Canada, Greenland, Gaza. Don't know what it's going to be next week.
All right, Peter, great to see you. Another busy day.